Welcome back to Flashback Files, where we're helping students, recent grads, and young professionals reflect on how early experiences shape confidence, identity, and leadership. Today, we have Cindy. Cindy started off taking a program in college as a correctional officer, but managed to successfully turn a part-time job at McDonald's into a 30-year career, where she started off as crew, ended up as store manager, regional consultant, national operations consultant, and now business consultant. Cindy was my boss at McDonald's back in the day. For those who listened to my 18 to 24 episode, I did reference McDonald's. And Cindy is also a sister to two really good friends of mine. I consider Cindy a friend as well, but Sammy and Mandy. So I was the little annoying kid hanging out at the household growing up. Today, I'm going to explore Cindy's 30-year career at McDonald's, from crew member to business consultant, and show how early jobs, feedback, everyday leadership moments shaped her confidence, identity, and long-term career direction. We'll also draw on my own experience a little bit, working under Cindy as a young crew member, to give listeners a real, relatable view of what early performance and tough conversations and growth actually look like inside a big global brand. So Cindy, welcome.
Thank you.
For listeners who are just meeting you, how do you usually describe what you do today at McDonald's in one or two sentences?
Oh gosh. So right now, my acting role, I am a business consultant. So I have 8 operators who I kind of help lead. I consult with them, go into the restaurants, and really ensuring that the restaurants are upholding our McDonald's brand standards. So if that's through graded visits or just support visits, but I spend a lot of time back in the restaurants now with the operators and leading the operators to be able to lead their teams.
Excellent. So when I think about your 30-year career, I know I've been privy to a couple of awards you've been the recipient of. At McDonald's, can you please share with the listeners a little bit more about the awards you've been the recipient of?
Yeah. I won a couple general manager, outstanding manager of the year awards, as well as a prestigious award. It's the Global Ray Kroc Award, which is presented to the top 1% of managers across the world. And then I also recently, a couple years ago, won an MRCL Leadership Award, McDonald's Restaurants of Canada, and that is presented to the top 5% of corporate employees. So
that's incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Top 1% of a company that is as massive as McDonald's is no easy feat. So I'm sure you were quite proud of yourself when you received that.
Yes, I was very, very proud. Yeah. And also shocked, I guess I would say. But yeah.
Could imagine. If the listeners met 18 or 19-year-old Cindy, what would they have seen? Like, who was Cindy back then in terms of your personality, your priorities, confidence level?
Well, I would say at 18 or 19, I was trying to figure out life. I was actually at that age exactly. I had graduated high school and taken a year off. So I was just working. I was at the time in my career a swing manager at McDonald's. And I was taking a year off before I wanted to go to school because, I never wanted to work at McDonald's. So I was not staying there. I was so mad at my mom for making me even apply there. But I guess at 18, 19, thinking about it, I was always very confident at work, always. When I walked through the doors at work, I was always like, I got this. But I think when I think back to who I was at 18 or 19, like outside of work, very low self-esteem. Just that's the time you want a boyfriend, you want to impress people. I always had a lot of friends, but I think I had some low self-esteem. And I think that work just really brought more of a confidence out in me. So I really enjoyed being at work like all the time.
Okay. That blows my mind, the self-esteem comment. And this is where I get to fill in some blanks in terms of, so
Okay.
I'm 3 years younger than Cindy. And so I was 13 when maybe 12 when I first saw her on the streets. So,
Oh my God. In my Phoenix Suns jacket.
yeah, Phoenix Suns jacket, your bandana that was tucked underneath your hair. So Cindy would walk home from high school. We lived 4 streets away, and at the time I didn't know who she was. She went to a different middle school than I, but I would see this trendy looking high school girl walking down the street. She had a like just poise in her step. You expressed yourself like you were really into hip hop at the time.
Yeah.
I forever attached Notorious B.I.G. and Jay-Z to you, but you seem to be like quite a confident trendsetter
Mhm.
from a distance, and it was just interesting that you stood out like that to me. And then somehow I ended up getting to know you quite well over the years.
Right. Yeah, no, that is really funny. I think everyone at that age though, like I think most people have self-esteem issues, but you try and mask it by doing certain things, right? And I think I did that very well. So,
Yes. Yeah.
yeah.
Awesome. So speaking of the house that you walked into, you grew up
Mhm.
in a house with 6 girls,
Yes.
so 5 sisters. Can you paint a picture of what that was like day to day, where there's a house full of strong personalities? Where did you fit in the sister lineup?
So my parents' name are Bev and Barry, so we're BBs. So I'm BB number 4, so meaning I'm fourth in line. So I have 3 older, 2 younger. We actually have shirts that have that on. But we got them made when we were little kids, and then when we recently took a family trip some time ago, we got them made again. So yeah, it was kind of cool. But yeah,
Mhm.
so kind of in the middle. The house was, I mean, we kind of paired up. There was 6 of us. We had 4 bedrooms in the house, right? So we just kind of organically were paired up with the sister around the same age as you. And so then that meant pairs for chores and things in the house. And we kind of grew closer. Like you would know that from the pairs of sisters, I guess you would say. Now probably have grown into groups, I would say more now.
Mhm.
But yeah, so it was just my household was very structured growing up. We did things at the same time every day. We would eat dinner at 5:30 on the dot every day. We sat at the same seat around the table. It was just I did have a very structured upbringing. My dad was very good with teaching us about work ethic and responsibility from a very young age. We all had paper routes when we were like 8, 9 years old. We'd sit around the table on the weekends and we'd do our bank books and our banking. And my dad taught us all of that at a young age, things that you don't learn in school, right? He made us all open up RRSPs at like the age of 16. And so just a lot of good work ethic was instilled in me from my dad. But yeah, my parents, everything was very structured. And even as we got a little older and sometimes my parents weren't in the house, I think because we had this structure, if my dad wasn't home to cook us dinner, there was a note on the counter with the instructions on what you have to do. And so we all just kind of took care of each other. One of my older sisters would make sure dinner was cooked and on the table at 5:30. And yeah, so just a very structured household. Little chaotic, obviously, with so many people. And now as we get older and we all have spouses and kids, like the immediate family is just huge. So it's
Mhm.
wild now. But back then, yeah, I had a really good upbringing.
Yeah. Again, I can provide a little bit of perspective. So first off, the pairing is so interesting because as you were talking about it, I remember Kim and Cindy's room, the hip hop room,
Yeah.
and Tracy and Terry more like the R&B room. Wow. So that was one thing that stood out. But the other thing is in terms of like the routine, it was a well-oiled machine. I remember the list of chores,
Mhm.
the cleaning of the kitty litter or taking care of Shadow. Like there was all these lists of things. But how did that environment with like a big family shared space, constant interaction, shape the way you communicate and lead people now?
Yeah, I think it's like maybe I didn't even realize it at the time, but constantly being around people. Like I was never alone, right? Like there was just so many of us. So I think it probably in a way like helped me form my communication skills. Now, I was in the middle, but I was definitely the bossy one. And I don't know where that came from. I'll say bossy now because it was bossy when I was younger, right? Trying to tell my older sisters what to do and maybe not the right way as I think about my leadership skills now and how much they've evolved. But yeah, I think just being around so many people and you had to communicate in different ways absolutely helped, develop my skills as the leader that I am today for sure.
Got it. So you touched on taking the year off to work at McDonald's, and then you ended up deciding to go to college and you took the correctional officer program. What was your mindset going into college? Like, did you have a clear career plan, or were you
No,
kind of still
like
figuring it out?
I remember when I took a year off college. So when I was at McDonald's, I was at the time a swing manager, and my operator offered me the position of it's called a salary manager or more of a career manager. And I told him no at the time because I'm like, I'm going to school because I'm not working at McDonald's the rest of my life. Even though I knew the culture and everything at the time, I just still didn't think that would be my life. So I remember sitting around the table looking through the college books, like what looks cool. I had no idea what I really wanted to do. What I did really enjoy though was helping people. So I took the correctional officer program really looking more I wanted to work with youths to just help them, and that's more so why I got into that was the program that would introduce me into group homes and things like that. And that's where I thought I wanted to go, more of a counseling kind of thing. But it was really just when I took that year off, I partied a lot. I just wanted the college experience. I didn't really know what I wanted to do. I thought, oh, I'll give this a try and see how it goes.
Mhm. Yeah. And when you think back, because oftentimes when you look at the college, if you have a diploma or a degree in maybe an industry that we're not necessarily working in today, we could say, oh, that was a waste of money or a waste of time. But were there skills or, yeah, just skills in general that you learned from the program that you might be still applying to your career today?
Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, one, like moving away to school, living in residence, living on my own, you taught me a lot of independency. But it also, funny enough, I still counted on my dad. He'd call me, get my grocery list for the weekends when I came home. But I think really like my co op through that program, I worked in a group home. So it was kind of like my firsthand experience. Like I used to say, I work with the troubled teens at McDonald's because a lot of them come in, they have a lot of different things going on in their life. And being a leader, you have to be able to work with them and talk through things. But working in that group home just really gave me a different type of exposure that I had never really seen before. So dealing with a lot of different personalities and, like trying to convince people to do things that just really like they didn't want to do any of it. So it was a totally different experience than I had ever had. So for sure, it gave me some skills to carry on with me.
Yeah, I'm hearing empathy and compassion while also having the ability to influence towards a target or a goal that you're
Yeah,
looking to accomplish.
for sure.
So many of our listeners feel pressure to get it right with
Mhm.
their program. It's a significant financial investment of time and
Mhm.
money. Did you ever feel like you might be off track or that you had to pivot your plan?
Yeah, I'm like, what am I even doing here? I think like after my first year, I was even like hesitant to go back for the second year, but again, I liked the life. I liked living on my own, being able to do what I want when I want, going out to pub and the clubs and everything. I think it was more about the party life for me. I mean, after I graduated, I took a couple job interviews and stuff, and then I was kind of just like I don't know, like, I did get turned down, which I was like, "Oh," like, I didn't really experience that in my life either, but then I think I got a job offer and I was just like, "Is this really what I wanna do?" And at the same time, my operator had told me, "The job is always yours when you want it as a salary manager." So I was like, "I don't really know what I wanna do. Why don't I just do this? It's more money, I like the job, it's more responsibility." So I did that, and here I am how many years later.
Yeah, really. So if you were talking to a current college or university student, what would you want them to know about how much their early program choice does or doesn't define their whole career?
It's just, I guess it's hard for me to really say that, but I mean, like, you can't ever be sure. Like, I don't think anyone's sure, especially at that age, right? Like, you haven't had enough life experiences to really know if that's where you want to go. But I think it's just take in anything that you can learn, experiences that you can have through different programs and really like learn is this what I like? Could I wake up every day, enjoy my job? Because that's a big thing of life, right? If you don't enjoy your job, it's going to ruin your life, your relationships, your how you show up to work. Like it's not worth it. So I would just say don't be
Mhm.
afraid to pivot and understand that this might not be the right path for you.
Right. Well put.
Yeah.
Um, when you think about working at McDonald's part time, what were the or some of the early moments, big or small, that started to build your confidence at work?
I think I would say probably I moved up quickly. I'll bring you back to the first days. Like my mom made me apply for this job and I was like there is no way I'm working at McDonald's. Like I'm not flipping burgers like that. I'm not doing that. I was so mad when I went to the interview. I didn't even smile. And then I get a phone call that I got the job. I was like, "What the hell?" Like I was like, "I guess I have to show up." So I went and I was just like still like not feeling it. I went in for my first training shift and I loved it. I loved it so much. I remember actually wiping out in front of some good-looking guy. Actually, I shouldn't say his name because I've still connected with him through social media. But yeah, and I thought he was gorgeous, and I wiped out in front of him. And I don't know if they didn't make us wear non-slip shoes back then. They probably did, but anyways. So I was just not. I quickly learned that McDonald's had nothing to do. Funny enough, as I say this, it's not about flipping burgers and making fries. McDonald's is a true people company. It just so happens that we make burgers and fries at the same time. So I quickly learned that and I loved it. So I think what helped grow my confidence quickly was I moved up quickly. So in the ranks of McDonald's as you went through a few steps, crew trainer to team leader and even a swing manager within the first couple years of working at McDonald's. Back then, that was not really heard of.
Mhm.
In today's day and age, people fast track very quickly. It is more of the norm to move up quickly through McDonald's. But back then it wasn't. So that definitely allowed me to grow my confidence. My operator always motivating me, telling me great things. My mentor and manager, I don't know if I should be saying all these names and stuff. I'll just, so she really helped mold me into who I am today. But yeah, they helped me. The people that I surrounded myself really helped me with my confidence.
Yeah, I personally working at McDonald's, I've actually referred to it, I think, in a couple episodes before. To date, the McDonald's training is
Mm,
the best I've ever received in my
yeah,
career, for sure. And the experiences with the people are also top notch in terms of my experiences at different companies. Like the culture is just,
yeah,
it's always been great.
yeah.
So I'm glad you pointed that out.
Yeah, things are a little different nowadays. It's hard for people like me that it's just like, "Oh, things are different," right?
Mhm.
People are different, the generations are very different, so but the culture is what you make it as well, right? As an operator, as McDonald's, what do you want it to be, right? So
Yeah. Yeah. So fast track on success and that sort of thing. Can you remember a time you messed something up early on and how you might have handled it?
I'm sure like I always make mistakes. Like so I can't think of a specific time, but something that has stuck with me forever. I did something. I don't remember what it was, but my she wasn't my boss, but she was so there's like different ranks at McDonald's, right? So there's a GM and then there's like a first assistant, second assistant. So at the time I was a second assistant. And my first assistant, she blamed me for something that I did not do. And people that know me, I'm not going to take that and I will speak out. I'll speak my mind. So I got the courage and I went and I told my operator, and she ended up having to apologize to me. And her apology to me was exactly this: I'm sorry, but I don't think I did anything wrong.
Oof.
And that has stuck with me for, I don't even remember what it was, but how she treated me has just like stuck with me. And I'm like, just like you work with different leaders and there's people you learn things from, both positive and negative leaders, whatever you want to look at. But there's things that you will take. And that was like, I will never make someone feel that way. The way she made me feel, I don't ever want someone to feel like that. So, yeah.
I
I
can
don't,
relate. I can relate. I had a boss 20 years ago that it taught me a very difficult lesson. Just the exact same way you put it. I remember
yeah.
verbatim what she said. And I remember telling myself I'd never treat somebody the way I
Yeah.
felt in that instance. You touched on like today's climate in terms of generation. But even back when we were working at McDonald's, the one thing, first off, I should say, the one thing I was so eager about to have you on is you've had an unconventional career path.
Thank you.
I know when I started part-time, and you've alluded to it, like, okay, this is a means to an end. I'm going to get a paycheck so I can spend it entirely on new basketball shoes. That was my mindset, right? And I'm sure it's many others. But you managed to show up and care and be enthusiastic about what you did, despite it being considered maybe a part-time job in your mind. So can you walk us through like how you might have been able to compartmentalize um, thinking this is going to be a part-time job, and so I'm not committed to it, but showing up as if you were 1,000% committed as a lifelong McDonald's employee.
I loved being at work. Like, I would work the open shift 6 to 11, and then somebody would call in sick, and I'd like, ask me, ask me. And like, I'd stay there all day on the weekends. And after school, I just wanted to go to work. And I think because I loved being around people, I knew that I impacted people around me. Like, not only like my coworkers, but also like the guests that I was serving. I just loved it. I know that I made like an impact on someone's day, and I just really lived for that. But I don't know where that came from, but I just loved work so much. I still do. 30 years later, I love what I do. I love the company I work for. And I love impacting people. I'm sorry, I don't really have an answer because I
No,
don't know. I think about it myself too, and I'm just like, why did I do like all the time at work? That's all I wanted to do.
no, it's amazing. Sometimes it's just like the gift that you've been given, and
Yeah.
I know for sure, like a circle of friends, and obviously in the work circle, like you're highly regarded as a very outgoing, social, funny
Yes.
individual.
Thank you.
Um, at what point did you start to think I might actually build a career here?
Well, after school, and I realized, okay, I didn't really, it just wasn't really for me. And then I was offered my position as a salary manager. I still thought, okay, I'm only going to do this for maybe another year or two until I figure out what I'm going to go back to school for, what I'm going to do. And then again, like, I just loved the continuous learning, working with so many different people, being able to impact and help develop other people. I loved that. Absolutely loved that. And there's still learning at McDonald's. Like, there's courses and things that you do. Like, even last week, I did a course online for Hamburger University. It's HU Online, I guess it's called, I should say now. But just constantly growing, constant learning. You're never stuck. I think that's what I really enjoy about my career.
Excellent. And when you took on the first leadership role, whether it was let's say swing manager or salary or store, did you ever feel like an imposter? Like because when you get to it, when especially when you accelerate as quickly as you did, you end up managing your peers
Yeah.
and you
Yeah.
end up managing people that are older than you. Did you ever feel like an imposter syndrome?
I don't really think so. I will say though, like, when I got promoted to a swing manager, I definitely didn't get enough training. It was kind of like, here's the keys, figure it out. And I was just kind of like, okay. And I just had to figure it out quickly. I say that, but I don't really mean that. There is absolutely great training offered at McDonald's, but it's like a new role and you're just like lost. And what do I do? Like, I'm in charge. I'm the only one in the restaurant right now.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was different. Managing the older people, I think because I've always treated everyone the same. In high school, I would go out of my way to talk to the people that maybe not everybody spoke to. Today, I don't care if you're the CEO of McDonald's or the maintenance guy changing the garbage. Like, I talk to everyone, I get to know everyone, and it's just who I am as a person and as a leader. Like, I just take that time to really get to know people personally. I think leading the older people, again, because I had worked with them, and I don't know, I just kind of took it on and was like, no, I don't think I did.
Okay.
Yeah.
You touched on be coaching crew members and nurturing them and bringing the best out of them. Have you ever had an experience where you've coached a crew member or taken somebody out of your under your wing, either directly or indirectly, where they followed a similar career path as you?
Um, yes and no, I guess I would say. Like, I've worked at McDonald's for 30 years, 22 of those years being in the restaurant. You can imagine the hundreds, if not thousands of people that I've worked with over that time. What I do have is I have this box that's full of letters, notes, just from people about how much I've influenced them and how maybe I've given them something to just really like take, and maybe they were down and out and I helped them, and just the influence that I've had on such a great number of people is just something that I truly, truly admire about myself. And it's funny because, like, I don't ever talk about these kind of things. So
Yeah.
I feel kind of weird right now even saying this out loud. But yeah, there's one person in the company right now, and it's funny because she's in a role similar to me. And it's funny because when I heard her, I was like, oh, I hired her. Or I'll randomly see like people's faces on posters and images that I'm like, I hired her. So this manager that I did work with, who is now currently a consultant, she was under my wing, but not for that long,
Mhm.
because what happened was in 2013, my operator retired and McCopco purchased his restaurant. So the people I worked with in my city at the time, I moved on a couple years later to open another restaurant in another city. And then my career path just really took me away from my city. So I didn't fully work with them. But yes, I have seen people, and there are still people that have moved up in roles that I've worked with them in.
Nate.
Yeah.
We are with the audience that's listening in, they are likely juggling school, a part-time job,
Mhm.
that sort of thing. What did you learn about leading people who are often juggling different things in the air, where working at McDonald's part-time might not be their priority? How did you try to get the best out of them in the limited time that you had?
I think at the beginning of my career, I think I was just like strict. Like, no, like, I don't care that you have basketball practice. Like, you need to be at work. And then I think I quickly realized that doesn't work. I mean, we offer flexible scheduling at McDonald's, but it still has to mean a little bit more than that, right? Like, I had to realize that just because my job was the most important thing to me, it's not to everyone else. So how can I work with them to still allow them to have like outside activities, and that McDonald's isn't the only thing, but really just kind of like understanding like what their priorities were. If they had basketball practice 2 nights a week and games on the weekend, it's like, okay, how can we work around your schedule so you can still get this experience, make some money, and still have your extracurriculars and have time for schools? I think it's really just being able to work with those people and pivot and understand that other people have things going on and you may not even know about it either. So asking
Yeah,
questions, yeah,
I think you set this up very nicely. I think it's time that we address the elephant in the room. You were my boss,
I was.
and I I was under your wing, and there was a moment in time where you suspended me. And I
Mhm.
don't know that we've directly spoken about this, but I just want to let you know that it has had an impact on me,
Ooh,
positively, I should say.
okay.
need to get my stuff together. But be be honest, when you think about me as a young crew member, can you share with listeners pretty much, why you suspended me, and was it awkward to do that?
Yeah, like, so you talked about it earlier, like, how is it like working with your peers at, a young age? And, and that was it. Like, you were at my house all the time. You came to my high school parties, I'm going to say you snuck into my high school parties, but yeah, I think at the time, I think you were maybe a little distracted with, I don't know, maybe a female or something. And, maybe your dependability skills were lacking a little. I had just kind of had enough. Like, I can't give everybody so many chances. So a suspension was in order. And yeah.
Was it awkward for you to see me at your house while I was suspended?
Of course, but I had to be professional. Like, work is work and home is home. Like, I am very good at that, leaving things at the doors. I guess I'll say, I shut the door on you as, you walked out for your suspension. And then, when I get home later and you're there, I'm sure it was probably more awkward for you than me. And in my mind, I was probably like this little,
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
but yeah.
I thought I was resentful in the beginning, but then I quickly realized that you have a hard line, which was, I think, super important, because I think, knowing me at the time, I probably would have taken you for granted if
Mhm.
you didn't draw the hard line. And I do know that I wasn't distracted after that. That was my one and only
Good.
suspension. So I learned my lesson. So thank you for teaching me that.
No problem. You're very welcome. Well, and you moved on to become a manager, right? Team leader, manager, and yeah, so
Yeah, it
clearly
shook
you
me up.
did get your shit together. Yeah.
We talk about, speaking of performance issues, we talk about a lot about that on this podcast, how they early performance issues don't define you, they develop you. From your side of the counter, let's say, when you've encountered performance issues and that sort of thing, did you see that crew members, outside of, you gave me my example, but did you see crew members, people who struggled at first, later on find their stride?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, like I was saying, like, you have to, though, like, lead with empathy to understand where people are coming from, right? You have to ask questions and, do you need support? Like, we always talk at McDonald's, like, do they have the tools to do everything? But the tools isn't necessarily just the equipment, right? It's just, the training that we offer. Do they need more training? And, really understanding how people are feeling helps them do their job better. But if you just look at people and get mad and get angry because, they're not moving quick enough, like, you don't really know what's going on with people. I think for me, like, taking the time to understand that about people help them grow their own confidence too and be able to just perform better and take things along with them even after they left McDonald's, just like we're talking about now, right? Like, I think that many people do that with their job at McDonald's. And you hear that all the time, right? People say that training at McDonald's is great, but I think it's also the leaders that you have that really make an impact on that.
Absolutely. Let's get into where you are today as a business consultant. When you look across the country, what patterns are you seeing with young employees? Like, what are they really good at now that maybe our generation wasn't? And where are they struggling more?
Yeah. I guess I would definitely say, like, technology wise, digital innovations, people are very good at. Crew, cultural values, DE and I, things that may not have mattered so much 20 years ago, or I shouldn't say mattered so much, but we didn't think about them as much. I think people, the younger generation today, they don't have a problem with speaking out. I think they struggle with soft skills, communication, professionalism, and, really struggle sometimes with building those personal connections, which for me, that's how you build relationships. That's how you grow more as a leader, understanding people and having those connections. I think another thing with young people today, and I can't say if it's a good or a bad thing, is they tend to get bored really quickly, right? Sometimes the dedication may not necessarily be there, or maybe not be there for as long as you want it. Like the commitment, you're always kind of worried, like, are they going to leave tomorrow? And you're not really sure. Like my tenure of 30 years for someone that's in their early 20s is like, they would probably be like, oh my God, I could never stay at a job for 30 years, right? I think those are some of the things that stand out to me when we look across the country at our crew and the crew performance in the restaurants and some of the behaviors that we see.
Yeah. I know speaking to you in prior conversations, professionalism shows up in full-time jobs and part-time jobs. And what I heard in a couple instances is what the way that some employees exited the restaurant wasn't 2 weeks, conventional 2 weeks notice. It'd be just not showing up for a shift. So that's
Yeah.
happened. Does that happen often or?
Oh, yes. Like people will even accept a job like with us and just not even show up for the orientation. So let me say that like a couple years ago when there was a ton of jobs out there, people were just taking interviews everywhere, and like if you had a little bit of a gap between an interview and the orientation at McDonald's, people are just like screw it. They went and got another job. And all the time. Yeah, people, the sick calls that you get, like we used to kind of have a policy of like, you have to give me 4 hours notice. And that is just, I shouldn't say unheard of, but it's just not as common anymore, right? 10 minutes shift, people call in or just not even show up. It's tougher.
Yeah. So just to call out to the listeners in the 18 to 24 range, we're by no means painting everybody with the same brush.
Yes,
But I think the lesson that we can learn here for those that might have blind spots around professionalism is start the habits early. Be professional early. With the courtesy of 2 weeks notice, showing up if you say you're going to show up, and
yeah,
because that is a habit that you might carry forward into your full-time career or even
exactly.
post-secondary. And it's super important to just give the courtesy and respect that you would expect from somebody else.
Exactly. Absolutely. Like you
Yeah.
going to meet your friends somewhere and they don't show up. How does that make you feel? Right. Yeah. 100%. Yeah.
What are some habits or attitudes you see in high performing employees that others could copy today?
Today, I would say, although I am in the restaurants, I interact a little bit more with operators, supervisors. Don't get me wrong, I interact with the teams, but I would definitely say leadership skills. Some people think if they move really quick at McDonald's, that's what will get them promoted. But
Mhm.
it's really not that. It's, what kind of leadership skills do you have, even as that part time worker? Like, are you helping the person beside you? At McDonald's, we work as a team, obviously. Everything we do is, it's never individuals. How can you help others around you and just show those leadership skills? Because speed is only one piece of the puzzle for us at McDonald's, right? But like I said at the beginning, we are definitely a people business that just so happens to make burgers and fries. It's really all about the people that you work with, just how you show up every day, I guess I would say too, right? Asking questions, not being afraid to ask questions, and asking for help when you need it. I think that's definitely a strong skill that some people have a tough time with. I know I said that the younger generation today, they have no problem speaking out, but at the same time, they have issues with not asking for help. It's kind of a tenfold, I guess.
Interesting. Okay, that's good to know. I was just thinking I've brought it up myself in terms of not asking questions and the challenges it brought in my full-time career.
Mhm.
Again, it goes back to like building the habits. Like just be
Yeah.
curious in your part-time role, build the habits so that it becomes innate in you when you take
Yes.
on a full-time role.
Yeah. Yeah.
How has your identity shifted from your
My
first
identity
shift
shifted.
to your current role?
Yeah, I guess I would just say I've always been a strong leader. And I just sometimes, like when I hear people say that about me, sometimes I just don't even think about it. But who I am and how I show up is definitely different. Leading people has always been like the business. But as I've worked through different roles, I really have to understand how to work with different people. And I think that's something that early in my career, I was just like, this is who I am every day. But as I grew and learn, you understand how different people are. Not everybody works the same as you. How can you work with those people, right? Like, not saying you need to change who you are in any sense, but you do have to show up different for different people. And I think just again, through my different roles and who I'm working with has really shifted my identity that way to just be who I need to be in the moment to get through if it's a certain project or, I work with operators. They all have different personalities. How do I
Mhm.
approach situations, right? Crucial conversations is a huge part of my job. How I approach one conversation will be completely different than I approach another one the very next day. Being prepared and kind of thinking, and this is actually something that I learned from a past relationship was thinking about like why that person did that or why they would react like that. I think when I was younger, I always had a strong opinions and I always thought I was right. But then I started to learn like, okay, maybe I'm not always right. And I don't feel that way today, you
Mhm.
know. But something in my relationship, my ex used to do really stupid things. And I'd be like, why? Why do you do that? And I think it just helped me in my career, right? Like understanding people better and like why someone might think a certain way. It's, like help me understand so then I can just work better with you. What people's values are really drives who they are as people. And our values might be different, but how can we kind of still come together to work together? So I guess just my identity and shifting who I'm working with has really changed over the years.
Yeah, that's super powerful. The why versus the what. So what they
Yeah.
did is different from the why. And like you said, you unpacked a little bit. The why helps uncover values that you
Yes.
may or may not be able to, comprehend it, or just it softens what they did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. And I just, it's funny because I think that's the only thing I got out of that long relationship that I had. And like, I mean, as I tell other people too, like you go through struggles in life, but it gets you to where you are. And like I'm in the best place ever in my life, and I hate that some of the things that I had to go through, but if I didn't go through those, I might not be where I am today. So
Well put.
yeah.
30-year career sounds like
Mhm.
there's a lot of success. Was there ever a
Mhm.
time where your confidence might have dipped? I'm thinking, I don't know, I'm just projecting, but I'm
Mhm.
thinking like different operators that you would deal with, different personalities. Some of them might have multiple locations and I just all
Yes.
these different things. Without getting into
Yeah.
too many specifics, was there a couple moments in your career where confidence had dipped?
Definitely. Every time I switch positions, even switching restaurants as a general manager, you're working with a whole new team, right? You don't know how people are going to take you. And then as I work through my different positions at head office, national operations, right? Now I'm dealing with the country and different people on different teams. And now absolutely I work with 8 different operators and they all have different personalities. Of course, at the beginning of each one of my career changes, I always had a dip in confidence and like, okay, what am I going to do here? But you always get it back. And, that's how you pull yourself up and you'll be successful. And I never know all the answers. And I'm not one to be afraid and say, hey, I don't know that. Or if I make a mistake, I will definitely admit to it. And I think that's just helped me grow as a leader as well. And people respect me for those kind of things. My confidence, yeah, definitely has changed a lot over the years, but it always comes back.
Good. And I'm glad that you were honest about it. I mean, I think we all
Hmm.
have confidence issues.
Yeah.
You've had different roles at McDonald's, but was there ever a time where you felt like you needed a change for the sake? Because you mentioned earlier, like especially with the younger generation, they get bored easily,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
You have 30 years under your belt. Is there any advice that you can give to somebody to keep it fresh within a company when you have a longer tenure?
Yeah, I would say networking is a huge thing. Being a business consultant, I've been in this role for 2 years, and I just talk to a lot of people from across the country, other business consultants. what do you do? How do you approach this? And so then my mind is always thinking, and I'm still always growing and, taking in information and just ideas to help my operators grow. That's really my job. But if I didn't do that, it would just be stagnant and I would be bored. Right. And it's just like, okay, here I got to go and do another visit like this. But it's like, how can I approach each visit with a different mindset? And, like, what are we trying to accomplish here today? And I think that, because I can think that way, allows me to still grow and not feel like bored. I do think when I came into this role, so I was in national operations for 5 years. I knew that I would eventually come into the role that I'm in now. I don't know if I was ready for it quite at the time, but now looking back, I think I was. I think I might have been getting a little bit bored.
And now you're in it.
Yeah, I'm in it and I love it. And yeah, it's different.
Good.
Last year, I remember my roller coaster of emotions and my confidence, like, oh my God, and like, what am I doing? And like, oh yeah, it's crazy some days. I call it the wild. One of my coworkers laughs at me because I'm like, I'm out here in the wild now, back out in the wild, I guess I should say.
So if you had 60 seconds to talk directly to our listeners, students, recent grads, young professionals, what would you want to leave them with about early work, confidence, and leadership?
I guess I would say, like, grab on to anything that you can, negative, positive. All the experiences that you have as a younger person will really help develop you into your adult life and your careers later in life. But take feedback as a gift. Don't get angry about it. Just kind of stop and say, like, how can I take this information and really help mold me into a better person or point me in the right direction, I guess. Yeah, I guess.
Well put. Okay,
Thanks.
so the hard questions are done. There's a
Oh,
couple of quick fire questions.
okay. Oh,
So first one is, what is your go-to McDonald's meal?
uh, okay. It's changed over the years. It used to be like chicken nuggets, like all the time. And now I'm all about the double hamburger. Yes. Diet Coke from the fountain. Yeah, I love McDonald's Diet Coke. It's so good. When I was at head, I know these are supposed to be quick fire, but here I go.
No.
I talk too much. At one point at head office, when I was working there, they removed the fountain station and they put in like a freestyle. And no, not the freestyle. Sorry, just cans of pop at one point. And I was like, what? Like, when I came back to the restaurants 2 years ago, I was so excited. I was like, give me all the Diet Coke.
It's the small things.
Yes, it is 100%. But you talk to people, they will tell you McDonald's Diet Coke is a thing. Yeah.
I enjoy it. I know that,
Yeah.
And so
Yeah.
I agree. I agree. What's one song that always puts you in a let's get it done mood?
I would say, like, Yeah by Chris Brown, like, just upbeat, it just gets me going. And yeah, definitely.
Cool. Okay, good song. Are you more likely to be early, right on time, or fashionably late?
Oh, early, all the time, hands down. If I'm running a little late or something, or like my GPS, the minutes keep going up, my heart is pounding. Like, I do not even want to be a minute late. 10 minutes early is still kind of pushing it for me. Definitely early. You need to be prepared. you have to set the right standard. You set the right example.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
If you were to speak to your 18-year-old self, we started with that at the beginning, and now we're going back to her. If she could see you now, I should say, what would surprise her the most?
That I'm still working at McDonald's.
Okay. No need to complicate things. All right. I think we're good. So, Cindy, thank you so much for taking the time to chat with us.
Thank you.
Your career has always fascinated me, and I'm sure those listening will have some great takeaways. So thank you very much.
Thank you for having me. This was great. Reminiscing, thinking about some of the good old days in the restaurants. And yeah, it was a lot of fun. So thank you. I appreciate you having me on.
Yeah, no worries. And to the listeners, thanks for tuning in. We'll see you on the next one. Before we really let you go, I just want to do a quick recap. Cindy took what was supposed to be a part-time job she never wanted and turned it into a fulfilling 30-year career, and she's done it while winning awards. The pieces I hope you really hold on to are these. Your early jobs are not just shifts. They're where you practice showing up on time, being dependable, and learning how to work with all kinds of people. Feedback is a gift. It doesn't always feel that way in the moment, whether it's a tough conversation or, in my own case, a suspension. But like Cindy said, if you can pause and ask, how can I use this to get better? It can change the whole direction of your story. You're allowed to pivot. Cindy went to Niagara for a correctional officer program, thought she'd never work at McDonald's for life, and still found a path that fits her strengths, her love of people, and her values. Your first program or first job does not lock in your whole future. If you're a young adult right now, juggling school, work, friends, maybe feeling pulled in 10 directions, here's the invitation from this episode. Start the habits early. Be the person who shows up, who communicates, who gives notice, who asks questions, and who shows a genuine care for the people around you. Those small habits will follow you into whatever comes next. I'd like to once again thank Cindy for being honest about the highs, the doubts, the confidence dips, and even my own performance blip. And thanks for the impact you've had on so many young employees over the years, including myself. If you know someone working their first job or someone who feels stuck in a role that they may not feel has a future, share this episode with them. It might be the perspective they need today. You've been listening to Flashback Files. I'm Josh Green. Thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next episode.